Landon Ricketts is one of those characters in Red Dead Redemption 1 who feels larger than life the moment you meet him. But what's interesting is how Rockstar builds this legend in a way that's actually grounded, almost understated. When John Marston arrives in Chuparosa, Ricketts isn't introduced with fanfare or dramatic music. He's just sitting quietly in a corner of the cantina, aging, drinking, and almost hoping no one recognizes him. And that subtlety is intentional because Ricketts is the first gunslinger who shows John what happens when the dust settles and the myth fades. He's not retired because he wanted peace. He's retired because the world moved on without him. What a lot of players don't fully notice is how Ricketts' story mirrors John's future. But in reverse, Ricketts is what John could become if he actually got to live long enough to escape his past. They both tried to step away from violence, they both ran from the identities that people carved for them, and they both ended up dragged back in because the people around them needed something from them. But unlike John, Ricketts survived that cycle. The government never hunted him, no one forced him into one last job. And that difference is exactly what makes Landon Ricketts one of the rare characters in the franchise who got out clean. One detail that often goes unnoticed is how incredibly important Ricketts is to John's development. The Deadeye system in the game isn't just a mechanic. You learn its perfected form from Ricketts lore-wise. That means John's peak combat ability, the thing that makes him the most dangerous man in New Austin, is something he got from the greatest gunslinger of the previous generation. And when you think about it that way, Rockstar quietly positions Ricketts as a bridge between two eras of the West. He represents the dying romantic era of duels, saloons, and legends told on dusty porches. John represents the new age, railroads, government control, and the end of outlaws. Another interesting narrative angle is the way Ricketts interacts with the Mexican Revolution. Unlike Abraham Reyes or the rebels, Ricketts isn't ideological at all. He doesn't care about political victory or national pride. He helps because he's surrounded by corruption and he hates injustice, not because he believes in some grand cause. That's why he's the only foreigner in Mexico who isn't exploiting the chaos for money, power, or control. His motivations stay pure, almost painfully so, and that sincerity makes him stand out in a storyline full of manipulation and propaganda. And then there's his disappearance. After the Mexico chapter ends, Landon Ricketts simply vanishes from the main story. You never hear what happens to him, but the Undead Nightmare expansion treats him with respect. He dies fighting, trying to protect the people around him, which fits perfectly for a man who spent his whole life trying to use his reputation for something good. Even in an alternate universe, Rockstar made sure his end matched his life. Quiet, honorable, and uncompromising. In many ways, Landon Ricketts is the ghost of the Old West, walking through a world that's rapidly forgetting what a gunslinger even means. He's a mentor, a relic, a warning,